We are learning about interior and exterior angles. So this is not on your paper right now, but I need to give you some context about what we're talking about first. So interior angles, we are talking about the same thing we talked about yesterday when I talk about parallel lines. We talked about what does it mean for a line to be parallel. That means they never cross each other. They're never going to run into each other. Some examples of that are train tracks or the roads, the lines on the roads. They're never going to run into each other. Those are parallel. We talked yesterday how we were cutting those parallel lines with a transversal. So that's just a line that cuts those parallel lines in half. I am going to make my parallel lines a different color so that you can see which ones are parallel and which ones are not, okay? So today we're talking about interior angles. It's important that we know what interior means. This is a word that you might have heard multiple times before. Like if I said the interior of your house or the interior of your car, that means the inside of your house or the inside of your car. In this case, interior angles are going to be inside the parallel lines. So the red lines are our parallel lines. Sometimes you're going to see the little parallel lines have these like little arrow looking things on them. That means they're parallel to each other. So we're looking inside the parallel line. There are 4 angles inside these parallel lines. There's this one, there's this one, there's this one, and there's this one. Those are the 4 angles in the interior or the inside of parallel lines. So today, we're going to talk about 2 different types of problems that come from interior angles. So there's something called same side interior, and then there's something called alternate interior. There are 2 different types of problems. Okay? And it makes sense when you think about it. If I said the same side interior angles, I'm talking about interior angles that are on the same side of that black line. So the yellow and the green, yellow and green are same side interior, and then blue and purple are the same side interior. Now, alternate interior, we can figure out what the word alternate means too, because in English and in other classes, you might have heard the word alternate, okay? Alternate means, in this case, the opposite. So when I'm looking for alternate interior angles, I'm talking about green and blue. Those are alternate interior. And yellow and purple. Those are alternate interior. So there's some important facts about these angles, okay? If you have alternate interior angles, like these right here, they equal each other. Okay, so if I have alternate interior angles, that means green and blue are the same, and so are purple and yellow. They're the same measure. So let's say this one is 60 degrees. Well, then that means this one is 60 degrees. Let's say this one is 120 degrees. That means this one would be 120 degrees. Okay, because they are alternate interior angles. Now, the opposite of that is same side interior. So those are the ones that are on the same side. So green and yellow. The way you find that out is these equal 180 degrees together. So let's say you knew this one was 60. All you would have to do is take 180 minus 60, and that's how you would get the 120. We're going to do some problems. This is on your paper now, so you're going to follow along. We're going to do a couple of these problems together. So first thing you have to do is decide what kind of angles you're looking at. So alternate interior or same side interior. So in this case, we're looking at this angle and this angle. They are on opposite sides, which means these are alternate. I'm not going to write out the words. I'm just going to abbreviate that. That means alternate and this is alternate interior because they are inside those parallel lines. That means they equal each other because that's what we just wrote on our notes on the other page. So x is going to equal whatever the other angle was, which is 65 degrees. All right, number 2 is the opposite. This one is the same side interior. Okay, and then these two, we know they add up to 180 degrees. Well, this one already has 114 of that 180. So what I'm going to do is take 180 minus 114. 180 minus 114 is 66 degrees, and that is what x equals because we knew that together those two angles add up to 180. Okay, so those are the two types of problems you're going to have for interior angles. So you just have to decide what kind of angles you're looking at. We're going to do number 3 and 4 together, and then you are going to do the last 4. You're going to pause the video and do the last 4, so number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. So number 3, these are on the same side of this line. They're not on opposite sides, so these are same side interior, which means they equal 180 degrees. I already have 74 of that 180, so I'm going to subtract 180 minus 74, and I'm going to get 106 degrees. That's this missing angle right here. X is 106 degrees. Number 4 is different because these are alternate interior. They're on the different sides of that line, okay? Which means they equal each other. So if this one is 120, then X also has to be 120 degrees. So like I just told you, I want you to pause the video and I want you to do number 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own right now. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is the exterior angles, okay? So we've already talked about interior angles. If you talk about the exterior of your car or the exterior of your house, you're talking about the outside of your house. Well, in this case, when we're talking about angles, we've got our parallel lines that we had last time. And like I said, I'm going to make those red so you know that those are my parallel lines. They're cut by a transversal, which just means another line cuts those parallel lines in half. And when we're talking about exterior angles, we're talking about the outside now. So, for example, we've got 4 angles outside. We've got this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. Those are the only 4 angles outside of those parallel lines. So it's the same stuff as before. Let's see what kind of problems. Yeah. You're going to have alternate exterior angles. Alternate means they'll be on opposite sides. And so an example of an alternate exterior angle would be like yellow and purple. They're alternate sides. They're on the different sides of that black line, and they're exterior, which means they're outside of those red lines. And then the other ones would be blue and green. Those are also alternate exterior angles. So the thing to know about alternate and exterior angles is that they equal each other. Okay, so we're going to do a couple problems. This is on the other side of your worksheet. So we're going to do a couple of them together. For example, this first one. See how these are not on opposite sides? So this is 115. This right here in that black line that I drew, this would be its alternate exterior angle, which would mean this one has to be 115 too. Okay, so I know that together these two angles right here, and I'm sorry that line is really bad, but those two angles, x and 115, equal 180. So to find x, I'm going to take 180 minus 115, and that's going to give me x. which is 65 degrees. I had to use my alternate exterior angle to find that, but that is not an alternate exterior angle, okay? Number 2, this is alternate exterior, okay? Because this is on the outside of my parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides. So I know if they're alternate exterior angles, they equal each other, which means x would have to be 113 degrees. Same thing with number 3. Right here, I know this angle and this angle are alternate exterior angles. They're outside of the parallel lines and they're on opposite sides. So they equal each other, which means x would equal 89 degrees. But number 4 is a little bit different because I know that 41, its alternate exterior angle would be this one right here. So I know that this one is 41. And now I want to find the one that's right next to it. And since that makes a straight line right here, we know that straight lines equal 180 degrees. I'm going to take 180 minus 41 degrees, and that's going to tell me what x is. 139 degrees. So this missing piece right here is 139. There are more problems for you to do, so I'm going to have you pause the video and finish your worksheet. The answer key is going to be on Google Classroom. So when you finish your whole entire worksheet, I would like for you to go check the answer key to make sure you did them correctly. And that is our lesson today. It's just all about alternate interior and alternate exterior angles.